Hello everyone, my name is Ligia Henríquez and I am here to present this project. I would like to congratulate all of you as this is the last of the last presentation. Well, first of all, let me briefly tell you about our client. It is the Raritan Headwaters Association, which I will refer to as RHA. And this organization was established in 2011 as a merger of two other organizations that had been working for over 50 years in the Raritan River in New Jersey. The intention of the merger was to make RHA a leading voice in protecting water quality in the upper region of the Raritan River Basin. And this is an area that is over 470 square miles, and it provides drinking water for over 1.5 million people in the area. RHA monitors the streams to determine what the water quality is at different points in the watershed, and it advocates for environmentally responsible policies, among other things. And all of these they do with a staff of only 10 people and much support from community volunteers. Within the first 2 years of RHA's establishment, two major weather events hit New Jersey: Hurricane Sandy and Hurricane Irene. These were a wake-up call for RHA and for the people of New Jersey to have a community that is resilient and doing adaptation to climate change. This is because climate change is projected to result in more frequent and more severe weather events. And however, RHA was not sure how to go about in implementing this plan, so they tasked us with developing strategies that are applicable, feasible, and that will increase the resilience of the region in the face of climate change. So we divided our project in two different phases. During the first phase, we did data collection and analysis. We analyzed case studies and mitigation strategies being used by other watershed organizations across the country, and we assessed the risks to the environment in New Jersey. These risks are mainly flooding, drought, and pollution. We also conducted interviews with experts that are working on watershed restoration, wetland restoration, and on invasive species removal. And we visited the region also. We were acquainted with the wetlands. We saw how agricultural runoff is a potential threat to different water bodies. And we saw how urban encroachment is making streams even smaller. And we maintain constant communication with the RHA board and staff members throughout the project. Based on all of the information that we gathered and our knowledge of the political climate in New Jersey, we were ready to present strategies at the end of phase one. These strategies we divided in 3 different categories that are green infrastructure, ecosystem health, and outreach and advocacy. However, these strategies are very varied in terms of their scope and their impact. For instance, it is difficult to compare permeable pavement and riparian buffer zone remediation in these terms. As a result, what we did is create different metrics and tools to allow RHA to be able to compare these strategies and prioritize the ones that they will be focusing on. So for our impact assessment metrics, we determined top-line indicators that included catchment, resilience, and water quality. For our feasibility assessment, we took into consideration political and financial considerations. And we also created a decision support tool that would aid RHA to only not take impact and feasibility into consideration, but also their internal needs, such as the fit of the strategies with their strategic goals for the long term, as well as where our expertise would be most needed. And based on all of these, RHA selected 3 strategies for us to continue further developing during the second phase of our project. During the second phase, we worked on developing a toolkit for 3 strategies. The first one is wetland restoration. So 50% of New Jersey's wetlands have been fragmented or reduced in some way. These ecosystems provide services that are crucial for maintaining water quality in the region, as they absorb excessive sedimentation, and they also filter pollutants before these reach the waters. So here is a picture of a wetland in New Jersey. in 2013 before RHA did an enhancement project on it, and this is what it looks like in the following year. Our second strategy is riparian buffer zone remediation. Riparian buffer zones are basically the vegetation that maintains the banks and their stability in the rivers. So to the right of this picture, there is an area where it is clearly visible where erosion is happening due to the lack of vegetation. And in the areas where vegetation is available, it is maintaining the bank stable and filtering pollutants. And our third strategy is a storm management suite, which is a combination of 3 of the green infrastructure strategies that we had presented during the first phase. These include rain gardens, rainwater harvesting, and permeable pavement. This strategy is more meant towards the more urban areas of this region, as it has localized impacts on effects such as fertilizers and petrochemicals released through residential and commercial activities in the area. In preparing this toolkit, we faced several challenges, including having a goal of adapting a region to climate change impacts and doing this through a small nonprofit. And we had to modify our strategies throughout the project based on different constraints and new data that we collected. And also, there was an issue of data availability that was applicable and current. And we had to adapt our language to diverse stakeholders that included environmentally aware professionals, such as the RHA staff, to people who are not as aware. And despite these challenges, we developed a strong toolkit during the second phase that will aid RHA in executing this strategy. This toolkit addresses 4 different gaps that municipalities and RHA may face in trying to implement them. Within the circle are the 4 gaps that we addressed, and in the outer squares are the deliverables or tools that we developed in order to address these. I'll start by the upper half. In terms of information and expertise, we wrote 6 white papers with their accompanying literature reviews on impact and cost projections for each of the strategies, and this is meant for RHA's internal reference. In terms of external tools, we created a presentation, 3 fact sheets, and 3 sample resolutions addressed and tailored specifically for 12 municipalities in this region, and these are based on best practices, policies, and programs based on these strategies for the municipalities to be able to execute them. In terms of organizational capacity, mostly in terms of staffing and funding, we wrote a fundraising concept note, a job posting, and conducted grant research to allow them to address these challenges. And in terms of influence, we will be pitching these strategies to the RHA board, potential funders, and municipal leaders the following month. We are confident that the toolkit that we are providing is a solid stepping stone for RHA and municipalities. It is based on solid science and data and on proven methodologies that have been successful in watersheds across the country. RHA's challenges are many, including funding and staffing and engaging the 12 different municipalities in the start. But their main challenge will be to engage non-environmentally minded stakeholders throughout the region. Our collaboration with them was very valuable and rewarding, and we look forward to what they will continue to do with the tools that we are providing them. Thank you very much for your attention, and please let me know if you have any questions.
Inquisitiveness wore off. Okay, well, first, I want to thank everybody for, I thought, outstanding set of briefings, and to thank the faculty advisors and the students here. So let's give ourselves a round of applause. So I want to sort of wrap up the workshop a little bit here with some concluding thoughts. I mean, first, what have we learned? We've been doing this for 3 semesters, 2 semesters without a client, 1 semester with a client. So hopefully you've learned something about the process of working together, developing work plans. You probably have seen in your work with students not in our program that they don't have some of the group process skills I think you've probably developed. Sometimes you wish you didn't have quite so many of them. I know that's true. But we do insist on working together in groups every semester, first in the workshop, but in many of your other classes. And we don't do that to torture you, although there is that temptation. No, we do it. We do it because, in fact, those of us who have been working professionals in this field know that you're going to need to do this. And you're going to need to do it across disciplines. You're going to need to be able to understand the work of people who are experts in fields that you're not an expert in. And you're going to have to learn how to interact with them and translate what they have to say to other professionals in the interest of problem solving. In order for us to address these very complicated issues, every one of these issues that we've dealt with all 3 semesters, they've all been enormously complicated. No single person can address them. You need teams of people. So in this field in particular, in sustainability in particular, the team approach is the only approach that works. I learned this at the very beginning of my career in EPA when I was sitting with practitioners from many different fields trying to figure out what they were talking about. And so that's one of the skills, the process skills, working in teams. This semester, learning how to deal with clients and their preferences, because sometimes you don't agree with them. They happen to have a bit of knowledge of what's going on that we don't have, and so in this kind of analytic exercise, we do adhere to the client's preference because that's part of what you're trying to learn how to do. But someday you're going to be the client. You're going to be the person running the project, and you have to remember, I hope, the capacities of the team and the kind of work that you can get done through analysis. But I think that's important. And then substance. We learned a lot about a lot of different issues. Listening to these talks, you learn about problems and the way folks are addressing them in many different ways, and you get to a level of understanding of this field that can only be done through doing. Learning by doing is at the center of the learning process as professionals, and the workshop tries to simulate that. It's also the place where we bring together the discrete elements of the curriculum. I know at times you'd be studying economics or statistics or environmental chemistry or maybe Professor Gondak's ethics course, and you're trying to wonder, why am I doing this? And the reason you're doing it is that helps form a conceptual framework for solving these problems. And you've now learned those and been able to apply them to these problems. And I hope that what you carry from the workshop and really from the program is a mental model, a way to approach problem solving. You start thinking about, what don't I know? What other kinds of expertise do I need to solve this? Where can I find that expertise? How can I work with those people? And then when I get them together, how much can I accomplish in 2 months of work? What kind of a work plan can we put together? What do I do with that person who has prioritized something other than the work on our project in the schedule that we have time for? How do I fill in and backfill when that kind of thing happens? How do I deal with those kinds of problems? So you've learned that, I hope. I hope you've been exposed to it, and I hope that not only have you learned about garbage in the water or conservation or any of the number of issues, you've learned about how to approach these problems. And the way I always put it, I started in the EPA in water. Very quickly I went to toxic waste. Then I did leaking underground storage tanks. Eventually I had to do climate change and a whole variety of other issues. Never the same issue, always changing. What becomes a policy priority for the president or for the governor or for the mayor is a moving target, and you need to be able to move with it if you're going to be an effective professional in this field. So I hope that you were able to gain that. Now, I have to apologize for one thing. Your commencement is going to be the first commencement in this program I've missed. I actually haven't missed a commencement at SEPA for 30 years, but my younger daughter is graduating from Maryland, and so I've decided I would like to live to see another graduation, so I'm going to hers instead of yours. But Professor Jossam has generously volunteered to learn how to pronounce all of your names and be on commencement. So I'm very grateful for that, Professor Jossam. And I'm really very grateful for the work that all of you have done over the course of the year. I think you've had, I hope you've had a very good year of learning. I think the faculty have been impressed by the things that you've done. This was certainly a very impressive set of projects. And soon it'll be up on the website, and you'll be able to read your colleagues' work. So again, thank you, and good luck on commencement. And also, one last thing, if you need help on the job market, please consult with me and the rest of the faculty. We're here to help make sure that all these things that we've taught you actually get applied in the real world. That's what we're all about here. So thank you, and enjoy the rest of your semester.